Hello, everyone. Welcome to a Smarter Way to Own in Costa Rica webinar. I'm glad to have you here today with us. This session is going to be very helpful if you have Costa Rica in your sights. While we give some minutes for people to join us, sometimes takes time to let everyone in. Can you help me by locating the Q&A button near the bottom of your screen? That's where you can ask us questions during the webinar, and we'll try to get to them at the end. And for now, I would like to ask you, where are you calling from? Where do you call home? To get us started, let me introduce Mike Cobb, our CEO of ECI Development.
Great. Diego, thank you. And Laura, I see you're here with us. This is going to be a fun evening talking about Costa Rica and some neat opportunities there to own a beautiful, beautiful home site, as you could see in the previous slide. I think one of the things that we always kind of like to do is obviously welcome you to the webinar. And I know Diego's having people look at the Q&A so that you can type in where you're where do you call home? And it's fun. Diego, why don't you open it up and see where people are joining us from tonight?
Yes, Mike, absolutely. So we have from Spain, New York, France, Canada, Chicago,
What an
Colorado
internet,
Springs.
right? Very international. And sometimes we think about, if we're in North America, it's North Americans moving to Costa Rica, and that's true. But Costa Rica has been an incredible magnet for people from all over the world. Europe, certainly, the Americas, of course, but also Asia and places like Australia and New Zealand. And I'm never surprised to see people calling in from anywhere in the world. And we appreciate the fact that it might be early morning or late night or middle of the night in some cases. So thank you for joining us. The real bottom line, I think, is that if you on this webinar tonight, if you're here with us, you have a spirit of adventure. Like that's the common thread that kind of runs through all of us that are looking at living overseas in some capacity. And I have to say, it's truly wonderful. I lived overseas with my wife and my two daughters for 14 years. We happened to live in Nicaragua, next door to Costa Rica. We spent many weekends, long weekends, and time in Costa Rica over the years and got to know and love Costa Rica as well. But the thing that I think I enjoyed most, and hopefully you will too, if you decide to move ahead with an expat experience, is this sense of adventure, this spirit of adventure of the people you will meet, people like Laura, who was an expat. But before I get there, let me just say, a lot of times people ask about the company and just briefly, and I'll touch this. We've been around since 1996. We've been in business 30 years now. I started this company as a way to serve clients looking for a home or a property overseas who wanted to have a higher quality of life and a lower cost of living. And that's really what we've done with ECI. And one of the really cool things I think with many one country, one project developers is this idea of, the pounding of the round peg into a square hole. Because if all we have to offer is one country and one project, well, then everybody has to be a perfect fit for that. The beautiful thing about ECI, the way we've created our company, and I'm glad you're here looking at Costa Rica with us tonight, is that if you find that Costa Rica is a perfect fit, great, wonderful. If you find that it's not a perfect fit, please reach out to your property consultant, your residency consultant with ECI and say, well, you know what, I liked these things about it, but maybe something a little bit different. And we have properties in Belize, obviously Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Panama, and we're looking at properties throughout the region as well. We've been doing this a long time. We've built an incredible team of people like Diego who are front end a lot of our business intelligence and our webinars and things like that. And then someone like Laura. And I'd like to introduce Laura now. I got to know Laura, I guess maybe 5, 6 years ago, and she approached us with, "Hey, I can really help your organization. I've got incredible expat experience, sales experience, of course, but the expat experience." And fundamentally, that's really what attracted me to Laura and wanting to bring her into our organization and have her become our vice president of sales and marketing because She's been an expat. She lived in Panama for 3 years in Bocas del Toro. I don't know if any of y'all have been to Bocas del Toro. It's a small set of islands on the Caribbean northeast or northwest part of Panama, and it's kind of remote, and it's very a very interesting place. And Laura, I don't know if you'll be talking about your experience there or not, but I think it's very relevant to people who have joined the webinar tonight because an expat experience is an expat experience, whether it was Nicaragua or Panama, or for many of you thinking about Costa Rica as well. So, Laura, without further ado, the program is yours. I'm excited to hear what you're going to tell
Oh,
us about Costa Rica tonight, and hopefully a lot of the folks here will decide to come down and visit when you run some of your upcoming discovery tours to Costa Rica. So, Laura, all yours.
thanks, Mike. Thanks, everybody. First, I just wanted to say I really want to invite you to relax because right now I'm not going to try to sell you anything. I'm going to give you a chance to get some clarity around Costa Rica and find out if it might be right for you and if Grandview Estates might be right for you. Because I really believe that buying and selling real estate in another country is a huge decision. It shouldn't be rushed. It should feel informed. I did spend about 3 years in Bocas del Toro, Panama, and I also spent a few months rather in Costa Rica during the pandemic. So I know the joys and the struggles that come along. So when a lot of people start talking about living abroad, they start by asking, will I feel secure? Costa Rica checks a lot of big boxes. It has a stable democracy. It has strong property rights for both the citizens and for investors from outside the country. Stability really is freedom, and that's what allows people to build a life, not just take a vacation. So it's a lot of fun to dream, but if you're serious about moving outside your home country, I want to encourage you to think practically. Living overseas is exciting, but for me, there came a day when I wanted to be able to go back to my home country, see my friends and family, and I wanted them to come and see me. So remember, travel time is important. If it takes 2 days to get to and from where you live, it'll become very difficult. That's one reason Costa Rica works really well for people from North America. It operates on US time zones, so you don't have to worry much about checking the time when you phone home. So first, a question in a lot of people's mind is, can I stay there legally? So today I'm going to focus about the investor residency option because it's one of the most relevant to this conversation. Costa Rica allows individuals who invest $150,000 in qualifying assets, that means real estate, to apply for residency. What that means practically for owners is that you're not just a tourist anymore. You have the legal right to enter and exit the country, stay as long as you like. You can also participate in the national healthcare system once you're enrolled. That means that you don't have to make a border run every 90 days. It's a structured, legal way, but not a workaround. So now let's talk about healthcare. It's one of the first concerns for many families. Costa Rica has both public and private systems, and even private care is far less expensive than in the US. The regional clinics and the small hospitals, they handle everyday needs. San Jose offers modern hospitals, including health tourism, cosmetic, dental, and even regenerative medicine. While I was living in Costa Rica, I found a local dentist. The care I received was every bit as professional and clean as in the US, and it was about a third the cost. Now, when I was in Panama, I fell off a scooter and I had to have surgery. So that's an interesting story, but I can tell you for sure, it's better care than I've ever could even ask for. So if you've ever been to Costa Rica, you've probably heard the expression pura vida. I remember asking my coworker when I lived there, what does it actually mean? Because I hear it as hello, I hear it as goodbye. I think he even said it once when I sneezed. So I said, which is it? Is it hello? Is it goodbye? What? And his answer was, yeah. So it's not really a direct translation, it's more of this attitude. So once you spend time there, you'll realize it's not just a slogan, the people actually live it. So, quick story. This Coke bottle, you'll see, it always makes me smile. So when I was growing up, pop came in glass bottles like this, and you return them, they reuse them. It was just normal. When I started spending time in Costa Rica, I felt that same mindset. You see refillable water stations like you see in the slide. There's less packaging, there's more reuse. It's actually not a performance for them. The people genuinely believe that taking care of the land and their bodies, it serves them personally. So it's really ingrained in the culture. So let's talk about energy. When people consider living abroad, they should want to know, is the infrastructure reliable? Costa Rica runs primarily on renewable hydroelectric power. In fact, the road to Grandview crosses the river where lots of power is harnessed. Now, the grid is generally stable, but I will be upfront. Power outages do happen. It's more than in the US and Canada, but usually they're weather related and they're short. And once you settle in, it's really not that big a deal. Safety. So safety is one of the most common questions that I get, and frankly, it should be. Costa Rica is considered one of the most stable countries in the region. Politically, it's been steady for decades. That said, no place is perfect. You still have to use common sense. So if you leave your $1,000 iPhone on a beach blanket and take a swim, it might not be there when you come back. But I can almost guarantee if you leave it on the beach in some place in the US, it'll be gone. So what most people notice is not zero crime, it's the absence of certain level of intensity. They don't have gun violence. You don't feel that underlying tension. So day-to-day life just feels calmer, less aggressive, more relaxed. Another question I get all the time is, can you live there without speaking Spanish? So the answer is yes. I don't speak Spanish. Now, I lived there long enough that I picked a lot up, but English is taught in public schools since the early 90s. So especially in places like the doctor's office, the lawyers, the banks, people will speak your language. And I always tell people the two most important phrases in any language are please and thank you. Or in this case, por favor y gracias. You don't have to be fluent, you don't have to have perfect grammar, but if you make an effort, the people notice and appreciate it. So I have to say, most visitors experience Guanacaste in the Pacific. This is the tourism corridor. It's beautiful, but it's priced for tourism demand. The Caribbean side operates under a more local economy than a tourist economy, and that's what's ideal for people looking for long-term living. Vacation decisions are emotional, where living decisions should be practical. Where do you get groceries? How do you fix your car? Can you see the doctor? When considering Costa Rica, most people have three choices. They look at condos, raw land, or expensive turnkey homes. So I'm going to show you tonight something that sits in the middle. Because Costa Rica is geographically small, but economically, it's very different depending on the region. Like I said, Costa Rica operates under more of a local economy, the Caribbean side, and less of a tourism economy. It's less crowded, it has lower costs of land, there's more space, and more opportunities to see big gains in value. So I'd like for you to take a minute and ask yourself, what are your intentions? Are you looking for a vacation? Are you looking for a place to call home or retire part-time or full-time? This will make the difference. Now, the Limón Province, which is an important distinction, this is not the city, the port of Limón. We refer to our location as the Caribbean Highlands. This area supports everyday living, not just resort stays. It offers the lower entry point, less crowding, more nature. And you can see in this photo, the gentleman is selling juice on the side of the road. You'll see this often. So this is where Costa Rica feels really different in the best way. Property tax is low. Everyday services and fresh organic produce are often significantly lower. In fact, take a look at the cost of a housekeeping service here. Now it says 25 to 50, but I talked to a resident last month who pays $25 for a full day of service, and she even cooks for him. So located about 20 minutes from the town of Securities and 45 minutes from the beach, you'll find Grandview Estates. By the way, if you look at this map, it's a little deceiving. Grandview is actually closer to Securities than it looks here. Now, just a few years ago, the road from San Jose to the Caribbean Sea, which is Costa Rica 36, it was often referred to as the Banana Highway because the banana plantations that are in the lowlands. This road had a pretty bad reputation. See, the cars shared the two-lane road with the banana trucks. So accidents and stalls backed up the traffic, sometimes for hours. But today, construction's complete on a new modern 4-lane highway. It has new bridges and new interchanges. It's made a world of difference. Because of these improvements, the road from Grandview to San Jose is about 2 hours, sometimes less. And that's from the airport or the main shopping areas. When choosing a location for daily life, it has to be easy. Grocery stores, clinics, hardware stores need to be within your reach. San Jose is full of modern malls, high-end retailers, wholesale stores like Costco. In Costa Rica, it's actually called Price Mart, but it's very similar to stores that you might know at home. So many residents travel to the city to stock up on stuff. But 20 minutes from Grandview Estates, you'll find grocery stores. There's a brand there called Maxi Polly, which is a lot like Walmart. You can buy everything from shoes to shrimp. You'll also find banks, health clinics, hardware stores, local restaurants. This photo actually shows the port city of Limón, which is about 45 minutes from Grandview. The Caribbean Highlands offers year-round green, consistent warm temperatures, and strong growing environment. It's great for people who want to grow their own fruit or have a garden. When I was living in Central America, my patio became my living room. It's where I drank my morning tea, I made calls, I did some yoga, and I often worked there. So now spending time outside in the fresh air and the sunshine is something I can't do without. It makes me feel calm and grounded. It's one of the things that's unique about Grandview is the elevation. It's higher in the mountains, so it's typically cooler, more comfortable than the coastal areas. Many of our homeowners don't rely heavily on air conditioning, except in fact, most don't even use it at all. So Grandview offers titled, build-ready residential lots inside a gated community. You own the land outright. You own your property, but you're not alone in figuring things out. Roads, septic, water, electrical access, and guidance on construction already exists. So owners choose their home design and their lifestyle. We offer residential lots starting at 1.2 acres. They give privacy, space for gardens, space to have a horse if you want, but most important, space to breathe. As I said, the everyday utilities, including the roads, fresh, clean spring water, hydroelectricity, high-speed internet. Some of our homeowners install solar panels, but you're not off grid unless you want to be. You're not locked into a developer model. You can choose your design, your size, the builder. We can introduce the builders who know the area, but you're not obligated to use them. Grandview is designed with Pura Vida in mind: nature, community, and lifestyle. One of the things that I really appreciate about this location is you're not just surrounded by trees, but you're also next to protected land. The national park, as your neighbor, you can count on that lasting beauty. It won't be developed. There's something very different about knowing that what you see today, the forest, the wildlife, the green space, it's going to remain the same. It's not land that's waiting for the next phase of construction. It's protected. Lots of people go to the zoo to see exotic wildlife, but at Grandview, it's just part of the everyday. You'll hear howler monkeys in the distance. There are toucans and sloths in the trees. Actually, interesting fact about toucans, whatever. Did you know that the sound they make sounds more like a frog than a bird? They're generally pretty shy and hard to see, but once you know what they sound like and where to look, you can usually see them. Plus, I found out they don't really eat Fruit Loops. So let's talk about the pure natural spring water. This is one of the most unique aspects. Your home will be connected to a natural mountain spring. So many of the residents tell me that drinking it, bathing in it, and using it to cook actually makes them feel better inside. So I want you to take a look at this photo of the waterfall and remember it, because I'm going to reference it in just a few minutes. So you'll want to keep that in mind. Now, I love a day at the beach, and from Grandview, it's more than possible. The Caribbean beaches are about 30 to 45 minutes away. When I was there last month, I had lunch with our partner, Gil, and his wife, Myrna, and we ate fresh fish that were caught that morning, and we had our toes in the sand while we did it. So people travel from all over the world to experience whitewater rafting on the Rio Paquari. It's considered one of the top rafting rivers in the world. The drop-in point is just 15 minutes down the road from Grandview. And I can tell you firsthand, one thing that blew my mind after I've rafted this river for 5 days over 4 separate trips, and I have never seen one piece of litter, not one plastic bottle, not one plastic bag. It's amazing. So now coming back to Grandview, phases 1 through 3 are sold out, but phase 4 is now available. We have 28 lots available in this phase. Most are priced at $99,000 US, with about 3 or 4 at 125. Now, do you remember the waterfall picture I showed you on the slide a few slides back? There's even 1 or 2 that directly connect to the site where that waterfall is. It could be your backyard. So people always ask me about HOA fees, thinking there must be a catch. So at Grandview, the HOA was created with flexibility in mind. It only really covers common areas, and it doesn't enforce these ridiculous rules and regulations. It's about communication, common sense between owners, and they share the infrastructure rather than a restrictive HOA model. HOA fees are reasonable and they support the services. Currently $50 per month. When you become a homeowner at Grandview Estates, we can introduce you to local builders that can help you build. Typical homes average about $75 to $90 per square foot for standard North American finishes. Yes, I'll say it again, $75 to $90 per square foot. Now, you can also do luxury finishes and it'll still come in well under $200 a square foot. So at $150,000 investment level, you qualify to apply for investor residency. One of the things that I really appreciate about Grandview is that you don't have to start big. Some people want to build a full family home right away, but others prefer to start small, maybe 700, 750 square foot cabin. At Grandview, a modest home of that size can often be built in just a few months for under $60,000. This gives people flexibility. You can create a comfortable base, establish your residency, and then expand later if you want. Homeowners at Grandview enjoy seasonal, extended stay, full-time relocation. There's no restrictions on renting, so this means you can list your home on sites like Airbnb or VRBO when you're not using it. So now, if you're thinking, I want to see this, well, then let's schedule a visit. If you're thinking, I'm ready to make a contract, well, we can do that too. To see it for yourself, you do have three options. Right now, we're putting together hosted group visits, and we want to hear from you if you'd be interested in joining. We can also help customize a personal tour, or you can just meet us at the property. We can even offer credits towards your purchase price for the cost of your basic visit if you decide to become an owner. Either way, we'd love to show you around. The core idea here is simple. It's about creating a real place you can live, whether it's part-time or full-time. For some people, it starts as seasonal living. For others, they're ready to make a full transition. Ownership gives you a place that's truly yours. It's not a rental, it's not a resort stay, but a home base in another country. So if you need more help to decide, our CEO, who you met at the beginning, has literally wrote the book on it. If you want a free copy, just email us at book@ecidevelopment.com and we'll send it your way. We can also send you a short quiz that'll help you decide if you're cut out for living overseas. So now, Diego, I would love to see if we have any questions.
Yeah, I think let's give them a minute for writing questions. Right now, they're just coming in. The first one I
Okay.
see here is there financing options for the lots?
We can work with you on that. Reach out to your property consultant and we can see what we can do for you. We don't have a standard bank package, but there are opportunities available.
Thank you. There's a personal question here. Why did you leave Panama and Costa Rica?
Oh, that's a really good question. I left because my mom and dad are getting a little older and I just wanted to live closer to them for the short term. Someday I'll move back overseas.
Thanks for sharing.
Uh-huh.
Do you intend to have a community garden in the community?
As far as I know, there is not a community garden. Most people have the gardens in their own area, but certainly this is something that homeowners could set up and put together if they wanted to. So whoever asked that question, I'm sure you could start that.
And if I can complement your answer, Laura, a lot of the owners also have like their own gardens. The lots allow for that, so a lot of people are growing their own crops there. Well, not
Right?
really
Yeah.
crops, but fruit trees and stuff.
Yeah. Fruit trees I've seen. I've seen tomatoes, peppers. I'm sure there are other things being grown there as well.
Yeah. Eh, Someone's asking if you can put the map again so they can see the available lots.
Oh, sure. Give me a second here and let me scan over there. 1 second. Where is the map? Here we go. There we go. And certainly, if you reach out to a property consultant in phase 4, you can see we have one that's sold there. The rest are available, but the property consultant would be happy to share this map with you and talk to you about the sizes of each.
Thank you. Is the protected land that you mentioned Braulio Carrillo National Park?
It is a national park. Ooh, I can't remember the name, but I do know that that national park is in the regions. I'm not certain. I think that's the one that's right behind there.
Do you have any options with oceanfront, or is this the only property?
Not in Costa Rica at this time, but certainly we can talk with your property consultant can talk to you about oceanfront property in other countries.
Where's the nearest hot spring? Do you know? Or are there any on the east side of Costa Rica?
I don't know the answer. That's a tricky question, but I will make a note of it and get back to you on that.
Thank you. Mm, I'm checking the questions that are coming in here. How far is it from the West Coast?
Well, let's see. So probably 4 hours, I would say, depending on traffic. So 2 hours back. You will need to go back to San Jose and then head west.
Okay. The HOA that you mentioned, does that change when the house gets built, or is it always the same?
No, the cost for when I said, because I know I did say in there that it's right now it's $50. It's $50. That's what the homeowners have determined the cost to maintain the services is. And it doesn't get more just because you build a house, but there could be the potential that the homeowners could decide that they need to spend more money and the dues would go up. But that is organized by the owners and you can join that and you'd have a vote. So those dues wouldn't go up without approval.
Perfect. I have a couple of questions here about the same topic, so I'm going to mix them together.
Mhm.
They're basically asking about the builders. Is it trustworthy to hire builders in Costa Rica, or could you build a house yourself?
Really good question. You can build a house yourself, absolutely. And I will say, just like anywhere, there's good and there's bad, but we have the names of a couple builders that have done really well, done some of the work that you see here. Let me just show you, how homes like the one here in the pool area. So we can introduce you to those folks. You can interview people and decide for yourself.
Thank you, Laura. Do you know how many lots are in the whole Grandview Estates development, like phase one, two, three?
I don't, but I will find out for you. But if I had to guess, I'd say that the four phases are all about equal.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, I would by no means does that mean that phase 1 through 3 is completely built out. It's still a very small community, but they are sold.
So here they're asking about the price. So I don't know if you can mention it again. And you mentioned the price of.
Yeah. The lots start at 99,000. Most of them are 99,000. And there are, I don't know, 3 or 4 that are larger that are at 125. So all still very reasonable. And then as far as price of building, as I said, we don't lock you into a builder, but many of the homes that have been built there are being built for around $75 per square foot. And, of course, like anywhere, you can make that more expensive. One of the reasons that it's inexpensive is a lot of times they're not windows, for example. They're not buying the windows from the US and shipping them down there. They're actually building them on site when they build your home.
Mhm. Thank you for that context, Laura. I'm going to merge another couple of questions here. People are asking about the residency. Do you know if the 150,000 is the full amount? Do they have to pay anything extra? Or how can they work to get the...
Okay, yeah, really good question. So I'm not a lawyer, but we do actually have lawyers that we can make introductions that have done this and can help. The 150 is the threshold to qualify. So you would need also, most cases, to hire a lawyer, and there would be lawyer fees. They're minimal. I think around a couple $1,000s should cover that for you. So really not much more than that 150.
Thank you, Laura. Um, and there are other questions about building, but I think if you have any specific questions, we're going to send them to your property consultants, and they will be sure to reach out.
Yeah,
Um,
and I'll just say we're not avoiding those questions. It's just though we probably need to ask you questions back in order to give you good answers. So it really does depend on what you want to build, on how much that might cost you.
Another question here is, do you know where the current owners are from? Is this like a very American community or...
From what I understand, the current owners are primarily North Americans, Canadians, and US, but there are some Europeans as well. And I even think there might be a couple Costa Ricans living there.
Thank you. And how many faces will there be?
Right now, we're at four. This is the last. I mean, it's not to say something couldn't change, but right now, four is the last.
Mhm. And I see a couple of questions here, people asking for the recording and the slides. So please know that we are going to send a follow-up email tomorrow with the recording and the slides. So if you want to review any details, you can do it in the recording. Uh,
And I'll offer, I'm happy to talk to anyone one-on-one. You'll probably be assigned a property consultant who may or may not be me, but I work with all of them, and I'd be happy to get on a call and answer any other questions you might have.
yeah, and last couple of questions here. Can you repeat the size of the lots, please?
They start at 1.2 acres and go up to 2.3.
Thank you. And how many of your clients are doing short-term rentals in the development, like Airbnb, VRBO?
Right now, I don't know of anyone. I can't say for sure, but I would think that there could be some demand because of that whitewater rafting that goes in and out of there. So there may be folks that might be interested in Airbnbs, and I don't think there's anyone doing it currently.
Thank you. And just two more questions. Um, do you know if there's a way for residency on a pension in Costa Rica?
Absolutely, there is. I would recommend that you reach out to an attorney, and we would certainly be happy to give you a name on that. But it is absolutely a possibility.
Uh, do you know the approximate cost of three-bed, two-bath house?
Ooh, I don't. But hey, send me an email and I will find out for you. Two bed, three bath house, it depends on square footage. But if you take, maybe that's 2,000 square feet. I'm not very good at math on the spot, but if you take, let's say, $80 a square foot times 2,000 square feet, that's probably where your price is going to come in.
Thank you. So those were the questions for today, Laura. I don't know if you can repeat how they can get a hold of us if they have more questions.
Yeah, let me just flip to that slide so people can see that. 1 second here. Technology giving me trouble.
And while
Okay.
you do that, there was one last question here.
Okay.
Are most houses alike in the community, or is there like a large difference in size, types, styles, and all that?
I would say most of the house are that traditional home that like you see here, there aren't really a lot of rules on what you can do. So you could build other home styles if you like, but most of them are kind of that I guess that's a Mediterranean style type of home.
Mhm. Thank you, Laura.
And you asked, so our 800 number is here. Also, there's information. If you already have a property consultant assigned to you, just send an email to them or reach out to ecidevelopment.com.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you, everyone,
Uh,
for joining us. I hope this session
Thanks
was.
for coming. Look forward to talking to everyone.
Have a great day.